We've already done every Hawaii real estate video out there. All the neighborhoods, pros and cons. What do we do next? Kenji, we should make a video where we ask AI the 7 things that people should know before buying a home in Hawaii. We're gonna go over 7 things that you need to know before buying a home in Hawaii. Now we had ChatGPT make a list for us. Kenji procured that. Then we're gonna go over my list. And in my list, I left the best for number 7. Maybe the most controversial depending on who you are. If you don't know number 7 though, the most obvious thing you should do before buying a home in Hawaii, then you just don't know. So stay tuned till the end. Hey, for my local people, before I run through this ChatGPT list, you know what this used to be? Bonus points. Leave me a comment if you know where we are. All right, number 1 on the list. Your money buys lifestyle, not square footage. I like that. Number 2 from ChatGPT, your timeline needs to be longer than you think. I feel like that's kind of arbitrary, but we'll get back to that. Number 3, island differences are not just geographical, they're cultural. I agree with that. I wonder how ChatGPT got that onto their list about buying a home. Number 4, the true cost of living. Spoiler alert, that one actually made it onto my list as well. Number 5 from ChatGPT, part-time doesn't work here. I guess ChatGPT assumes that everyone buying a home is not from here. Statistically, that's not true, but I get why they went there. Anyways, moving on to number 6, local relationships make or break the buying process. You're not gonna know uncle who's selling his home, but we will or whatever. I wouldn't put it that way, but yes, local matters when doing business in Hawaii, period. All right, this one from ChatGPT is a little redundant, but number 7 is you're not just buying a home, you're joining a culture. And this has nothing to do with anything, but if you're from Hawaii, you know the smell of the monkey pod beans? Is that part of your childhood? Yeah, it's part of your childhood, yeah. Monkey pod trees are amazing. It has nothing to do with anything. Number 1 from ChatGPT, your money buys lifestyle, not square footage. That is correct. Some people call it the sunshine tax, the weather tax, culture tax, but in Hawaii, things are more expensive. Would you rather live in 1,000 square foot in Hawaii, or would you rather live in 2,000 square foot in Vegas? Now, well, some Hawaiians will choose Vegas, not even if it's forced upon them. Some people from Hawaii just choose the mainland. My wife actually kind of longs to move back to the mainland if our kids weren't young and if her parents were gone. But since we have that ecosystem here, we stay because it's more about the experiences you're having, who you're with, rather than where you live. But in terms of where you live, Hawaii is the best. It's more expensive for that reason. Your timeline needs to be longer than you think. I don't know about that because I'm also thinking of what my local people buy. If you're moving from the mainland or not, of course, there's a lot of logistics that go into that. But the home buying process itself goes like this. You meet with us, we get you pre-approved, you start looking at homes, we find the home you like, we write an offer, that offer is accepted, and then the escrow process takes 30 to 45 days typically. Your outlook doesn't have to be that long before you call us, but I guess sure, if you're making a decision to move from the mainland to Hawaii, then it should probably be a well thought out one. Island differences are not just geographic, they're cultural. We're Eastern, we're Polynesian, we are a different thing. We are Hawaiian. The ways of doing business, the ways of communicating, the ways of dressing professionally. Like imagine if I wore this in New York. It's a different place, and that's why we love it. We want to wear Aloha shirts to do big deals, to transact and to help you in business and to do insurance and law and all these things. Also, respect is our number 1 value here. It's not freedom or liberty the way it might be in Texas. I bet you were to survey any local person, they would say respect. Would you think? You survey 100 local people, respect, what's the number 1 value? It'd be up there. Either respect or aloha is gonna be the number 1 answer. More than freedom, yeah. Which I love freedom, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying that's Hawaii's ethos. The true cost of living, I'm gonna get into this on my list, so I'm just gonna glaze over this one, but yeah, it's not just that homes are expensive, there's pros. The beach is free, you live in a postcard, that doesn't cost money. You can go swim and go surf and be active and have a staycation and sleep at your house at night. That doesn't cost money, but on the other hand, a gallon of milk might cost you $13. We have a whole video, granted it was a few years ago during COVID, but prices haven't changed that much, where I'm going through Costco and Foodland, actually shopping and showing you prices, price for price. Part-time doesn't work here. I don't know why anyone would put that. For local people in Hawaii, they would prefer that if someone is going to buy real estate here, they're going to own a tax map key, they're going to own a door, a unit of real estate, whether it be a single family or a condo, that it not be part-time. I think we prefer less transient people. I don't know why part-time wouldn't work. So Kenji's reading the actual ChatGPT thing. It says root in or rent. I don't know. I feel like that's just AI being in its earlier iterations. It might get better later. But that's local relationships make or break the buying process. And I think in the ChatGPT thing, it said something about you're not gonna know uncle who's selling his house or something to that effect. That is cute, that's novel. Unlikely that I even know uncle selling his house. Now it does happen. When I've surveyed our past closing. It's been about 5% of the time that we find something off market for our clients. Local relationships matter, and that like local lenders matter. We work with a great local lender as our primary lender. We do source off market properties. When selling your home, especially, at times a property makes sense to sell off market. So we find buyers before it even hits the market because the seller, they need the sale before they can even get it clean. The local network and relationships definitely matter for those instances. But I would say even more than that, the local knowledge matters, right? There's a lot of nuance in Hawaii real estate and Hawaii versus Texas or Washington. Mahi is buying a home in Washington right now. Contract's just totally different. The style of doing business is just totally different. Having someone that's really skilled and obsessed with this craft is first and foremost. But if you take the person who's not from here, who's skilled and obsessed, and the person who's from here, they just have an edge. They just know more about doing business in Hawaii, how to get it done due to connections and relationships. What pitfalls to watch out for? ChatGPT is number 7. You're not just buying a home, you're joining a culture. I like that. I could just leave that at that. People say, don't try and change Hawaii, let Hawaii change you. Don't try and change Molokai or Maui or Kauai. Just this morning, I was driving in traffic. People were throwing a couple shakas, and I made an Instagram story. I was like, oh, this is beautiful. This is like when I was a kid. And then 2 people cut me off. And the guy who cut me off, I know he's not from here, cut me off, no shaka. Got back in that lane, got back in this lane, disregard for everyone. You don't have to defend yourself and get offensive when you get behind the wheel in New York or DC or wherever it is you're coming from. But if you're from the mainland, when you come here, just remember, respect is the number 1 value, not freedom, not liberty. Not that we don't enjoy and appreciate freedoms and liberties. If we have to prioritize, it's respect, it's aloha. Those are the number 1 values. So that was ChatGPT's list. Now let's go over my list of the 7 things you should know before buying a home in Hawaii. Remember, in my opinion, if you don't know number 7, then you just don't know. Before we get into that, a little context about where we are right now. This is a home in Mililani that we are selling. YouTube fan reached out to us, said, hey, Derek, you can get us the most exposure. We trust you the most. You're incredibly skilled. Your team is amazing. And he went to coreteamhawaii.com, filled out the contact form, and he reached out to us. Here we are in this beautifully staged, beautifully prepared home. But let's get into my list. Number 1, and this just tells me that ChatGPT cannot be fully relied upon to give you the best advice or the best list, is HOA problems. Now, you might be thinking, I'm gonna buy single family, I don't have to deal with an HOA. And while that may be true, if you look at the entirety of the state, especially Oahu, it's a densely populated area. When you have dense population, you tend to have townhomes, condo buildings, and even single family homes. I learned this more recently from a real estate attorney. When single family homes are built in a cluster close enough together, there's a zoning density. And so even single family homes that you see that $500 maintenance fee, those homes probably have maybe a pool if the HOA fee is really high, if the maintenance fee is really high, or they at least are zoned in a dense area to where they have group insurance for the whole community. Because of the Lahaina fires, because of other things affecting the insurance industry, we've seen assessments and maintenance fee increases all around this island and all around the state. Almost all, not every. Some people were insured by State Farm and had full insurance prior. Some were insured by the company that kind of ubiquitously underinsured communities, but the HOA directors and board members opted for a higher level of insurance, so they had full hurricane insurance. Most communities had insufficient replacement insurance or hurricane insurance, and those corrections are just being made after Lahaina. We could do a whole masterclass on that. That'd be a whole complex video. Navigating HOAs and underwriting their books, their reserve funds, their engineering studies, their insurance, who's insuring them, when does it renew? These things are more important than they've ever been when buying real estate in Hawaii. My number 2, everywhere is not the beach, or everywhere is not camping or glamping or whatever it is that you envision Hawaii to be. Real life does set in. Your kids are gonna join a baseball team, and then you're gonna be doing the same kind of things that Texas dads are doing today. They just did it 4 or 5 hours in advance. Your daughter's gonna join a swim team or gymnastics, and you're gonna be doing the same thing. Real life sets in, and Hawaii's not this vacation. It's not this escape from reality. In fact, there's a saying, wherever you go, there you are. Hawaii can help to heal. There's an energy, there's a thing here, but if you're from the mainland and you think that you're gonna come to Hawaii and it's just gonna change everything, that's unlikely to happen. And for my local people looking at buying a home, I'm in escrow myself. However, I realize that buying a new home is not going to lose the weight for me, right? Buying a new home is not going to wake up at 5 or 6 a.m. and journal for me, or go on the run for me, or be a better dad for me. Buying a home is a nice thing, or moving to Hawaii is a nice thing, but it's not going to fix your problem. Home build type and quality. When they first started building homes in Hawaii in the 1800s to 1900s, we were essentially building shacks. Now we have these homes in Ocean Point and Ho'akale that look just like a subdivision in Texas or in Arizona. I lived in California, and there are these Western Victorians, these 100-year-old homes that in many ways were higher quality than the homes you could buy today. I've heard of homes in Boston that have these huge redwood piers, or like wooden posts that the whole home's supported by, and the home will basically never fall down. We in Hawaii have never had to make it through a winter, and rarely do we even get storms and hurricanes. Because we don't have weather and seasons to get through, historically our build quality is just less. Also because things are so expensive. The logistics of building here, homes are more expensive because of labor, taxes, shipping materials, and the logistics of getting lumber, etc. here. We build cheaper homes on average. Or if you're looking at homes that were built over the last 50 years or so, on average, I would bet they're not of the same quality of homes in St. Louis also built in the last 50 years. You're exiting your hold times. Anytime you're buying a home, you want to think about, when am I going to sell it? So the home that I'm buying right now, I guess I'm paying an okay price, but when I wrote the offer, I definitely felt like I was overpaying. But my exits are far out. My hold time is a long time from now. If you're gonna buy a home for 4 years and now that's you're local and you're gonna, I'm gonna move to town, live in town while my kids go to school, but when they graduate, I'm moving back to North Shore. Whatever the case may be, the shorter the hold time, the more scrutinizing you need to be and thorough you need to be with your underwriting, looking at the community's financials, if there's an HOA, looking at the trends of the neighborhood. Are they adding a target? Is the neighborhood getting more ghetto? Is the neighborhood getting better? All of those things. If it's gonna be a shorter hold, you just have to be even more pessimistic and scrutinizing. And sometimes it doesn't even make sense to buy. Cost of living. We did a whole video on this, so I'm not gonna dive into this one too much, but it kind of goes, like I said earlier, just about anything you're gonna buy, more expensive here. If you're a business owner or a 1099 earner, it's more expensive to do business in Hawaii. It's just not a friendly state to the wealthy. In fact, I think that's probably why some of the uber rich who own these $20 million estates here stay here for less than 6 months out of the year, because they probably live in a more tax advantaged place wherever they are. But it is free to go to the beach. It is 70 something degrees in February rather than snowing. While the cost of certain things may be high, you are also getting a lot for free. My local people know the saying. The saying is, lucky we live Hawaii. And it's very true. Commute patterns. If you are sensitive to commute can make or break your life. This goes for LA, goes for San Francisco, etc. When you're buying in Hawaii, if you have the luxury to avoid commute patterns or to capitalize on them, you definitely have to pay attention to that. Avoiding commute, obvious, but how might you capitalize? Well, for me, if I just want the nicest home I can that happens to have a view of the island and the ocean, and my budget is 1.5 million, but I don't have to worry about commute, I work from home. Where am I going? Going to Makakilo, because I can get an amazing home with a big deck and big backyard on the side of the mountain, overlooking everything, and everyone else is in traffic. I'm on my Zoom meetings, earning my money, living my life without having to buy a similar thing. If I bought that same home in town, anywhere from like Nu'uanu to Aina, that home's 2.5. That home easily 2.5 with less land. So I go from 1.5 million to 2.5 million with less land. Well, if you were financing $1 million at today's rates, that'd be somewhere around $6,000 a month. So $6,000 a month more in debt to avoid traffic that I don't have to sit in. Maybe it makes sense for you to live in town. Maybe money's not an option. You just want to live in more of the city kind of things. You want better coffee shops, better avocado toast, and a more liberal environment. Well, then you can choose to live in town, but if you can take advantage of commute, maybe you choose to live outside of town. Okay, number 7, the one you've all been waiting for. Do me a favor, leave me a comment. What did you think number 7 was? What should you know or what should others know before buying a home in Hawaii? What's the singular most important thing? I say this one slightly comedically, but I'm very serious. It's go to coreteamhawaii.com. It's reach out to us. If you're watching this channel, you know that there's no other source on the internet that gives this amount of value, this amount of information, this amount of nuance, underwrites deals with this amount of scrutiny. We're just masters of what we do. We are obsessed in the craft of real estate. Did you know that CORE, C-O-R-E, the reason why it's called Core Team Hawaii, is craft of real estate? We're really obsessed with this. We're very serious about your real estate goals, whether that means explaining to you that you're overpaying the way that I am, trying to get you the best deal and going for their throats when we're on the buyer side. When we're the seller, trying to extract every drop out of that fruit that we can and get you the most return on your investment. Here's the thing, the reason why I mentioned this, and the reason why I take this opportunity to pitch to you is I'll be in Costco at times, or like yesterday I was at a medical appointment at the VA, and I'll meet people, and people are like, oh yeah, I bought a home, or I watched you guys so much, and you guys informed me so much, and I bought or I sold. And I'm always stoked, I'm always happy for that person, but I have to take the opportunity to ask, why didn't you hit us up? What could I have done different in my marketing? And the most common answer that I do get is, I guess if you just told me to more often. I look at you as this like guy on YouTube, and you're sort of not real to me. You guys have so many subscribers and so much traction. We're just people, we're just local, good people who like helping people achieve their real estate goals. And so since I always get the feedback to tell you to call us, I'm gonna do that right here. The number one thing you should do when buying a home in Hawaii or selling a home is go to courtsinhawaii.com and contact us. Aloha, guys.